Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Hub. Imagine waking up to a global financial environment so profoundly impacted that normal currency operations momentarily slow as institutions worldwide pivot their focus. Picture major banking centers across several continents simultaneously adjusting internal systems, recalibrating digital infrastructures to accommodate a currency that has fueled debate and speculation for well over a decade. This special report explores a hypothetical operational shift long anticipated by analysts, one in which banks activate large-scale platforms designed to handle Iraqi dinar exchanges with unprecedented efficiency and security. Whether you are a seasoned observer of Middle Eastern markets or newly curious about global financial mechanics, this analysis examines how such a transition could function, why preparation would be essential, and the logistical steps involved if internal readiness ever moved into public deployment. In recent years, Iraq's economic reforms alongside its evolving oil strategies, revenue diversification efforts, and currency stabilization initiatives have drawn growing attention from international financial analysts. It is important to clarify that no bank has officially confirmed any sudden or imminent revaluation event. However, industry specialists often examine the theoretical mechanics of what would occur if financial hubs began restructuring systems to handle high-volume dinar processing. Such preparation would not be minor or routine. It would represent a massive logistical commitment involving digital onboarding, compliance restructuring, and the rollout of advanced monitoring systems capable of managing millions of customers while strictly adhering to anti-fraud and anti-money laundering standards. If banks were ever to scale operations to this level, verification would immediately become the top priority. The presence of counterfeit banknotes in various regions makes authentication the foundation of any credible exchange process. Financial institutions would rely on upgraded scanning equipment, ultraviolet detection tools, and access to extensive serial number databases capable of real-time cross-referencing. This process extends far beyond simple counting, incorporating sophisticated algorithms that compare each note's digital signature against archived records. Such scrutiny ensures the integrity of the financial system while protecting both bank liquidity and the validity of every customer transaction. Verification would also extend into digital holdings, requiring enhanced systems to authenticate electronic balances stored across different platforms. This would demand close collaboration among central banks, regional branches, international compliance divisions to confirm that every holder, whether presenting physical or digital assets, meets strict documentation requirements. In a high-demand scenario, reliance on manual or outdated verification would be impossible. Instead, banks would deploy rapid processing systems capable of authenticating massive volumes of currency within seconds. Analysts widely believe this level of preparation would be among the first priorities if institutions anticipated an extraordinary surge in exchange activity. Security would represent another critical pillar. High-value financial operations attract public attention. Risks such as cyber attacks, fraud attempts, and unauthorized brokerage schemes inevitably increase. To counter these threats, banks would fortify digital defenses by strengthening firewalls, conducting extensive stress testing, and encrypting every transaction pathway. Multi-layered authentication would likely be required for all customer interactions, ensuring each transaction is logged, verified, and traceable. Alongside external defenses, banks would conduct intensive internal audits to identify weaknesses in legacy systems before opening exchange operations to the public. These preparations could also involve significant upgrades to appointment scheduling platforms, anticipating a scenario in which thousands or even millions of customers attempt to secure time slots simultaneously. Though such upgrades demand major investment and advanced infrastructure, they reflect how seriously banks approach large-scale currency operations. Even in theoretical planning, these scenarios allow institutions to test resilience and refine systems applicable to many currencies, strengthening overall exchange environments while ensuring trust and operational stability. To keep expectations realistic, banks do not deploy extensive exchange frameworks without explicit regulatory approval. Any scenario involving high-volume currency processing would require oversight from financial authorities, risk committees, and legal teams. The objective is full compliance with international finance laws, anti-money laundering requirements, and cross-border transaction protocols. Approval processes would involve reviewing exchange mechanisms, assessing risk exposure, and evaluating transaction volume to avoid systemic disruption. Even hypothetically, no major institution would proceed without clear regulatory authorization. Should interest in the dinar intensify, banks would work closely with regulators to design systems that are transparent, documented, and secure. This report explores why such preparation is dimensive and how it ultimately safeguards customers. While no large-scale exchange event is currently confirmed, understanding regulatory complexity highlights why global financial systems operate with caution before any public rollout occurs. Staffing would be another major operational concern. Managing sudden surges in customer volume would require far more trained personnel than used in routine operations. Banks might reassign experienced employees, hire temporary financial analysts, and implement comprehensive training for customer service teams focused specifically on dinar-related procedures. Training would include authentication methods, appointment handling, strict identification protocols, and flawless digital processing. Strong managerial oversight would ensure consistent procedures across all branches. Preparing staff for high-volume currency exchange is not a process that happens quickly. It demands planning, coordination, and deep technical expertise. If interest unexpectedly surged, banks would activate this staffing framework to deliver accurate guidance while maintaining security and order on the banking floor, preventing confusion and operational breakdowns. The digital appointment system would then become the backbone of customer management. Walk-in traffic would be impractical and risky, making verified online scheduling essential. Banks would expand platforms capable of validating identification documents, signing time slots strategically, and preventing overcrowding. Automated notifications would provide customers with detailed preparation instructions. Systems would be stress-tested internally to ensure stability during heavy traffic, as tens of thousands of users might attempt access simultaneously. Advanced security layers such as two-factor authentication, encrypted messaging, and digital verification steps would protect against fraud while ensuring system integrity. A reliable appointment system is essential for any large-scale financial operation, and banks would allocate significant resources to ensure it performs flawlessly under pressure. Internal communication networks would also be strengthened. In a multi-branch event, constant coordination between headquarters, compliance departments, digital teams, and security units would be critical. Encrypted communication channels and real-time response teams would monitor transaction flow, system performance, and potential risks. Live dashboards displaying transaction volume and verification status would allow managers to identify emerging issues early, ensuring operational continuity. Technological resilience remains a major challenge in such scenarios. Banks would conduct load tests to measure server capacity, upgrade backup systems, deploy cloud-based resources capable of scaling automatically during traffic spikes. Monitoring tools would detect suspicious activity, unauthorized access attempts, and system anomalies. Maintaining uninterrupted service would be essential, as even brief outages could impact millions of customers. Public communication would play a critical role throughout the process. Clear messaging prevents confusion and misinformation. Banks would issue official statements through verified channels, explaining available services, documentation requirements, and security warnings. Dedicated hotlines may be established to reduce the burden on branches. Messaging would emphasize avoiding unofficial brokers or unverified offers, reinforcing customer safety and confidence. Compliance, audits, and legal oversight would remain constant priorities. Every transaction would be documented, reviewed, and evaluated to meet domestic and international standards. Internal auditors would monitor procedures throughout the process, while legal teams would assess communications, partnerships, and system updates. Strong compliance frameworks protect both institutions and customers, ensuring transparency and accountability at every stage. Physical logistics would require equal attention. Branch layouts would be adapted to handle increased traffic safely, with structured entry points, waiting areas, and separate verification desks. Digital call systems could manage customer flow, reducing congestion and improving efficiency. In extreme demand scenarios, banks might designate specialized service zones exclusively for currency verification. Banks invest in such preparation because proactive planning mitigates risk. By strengthening infrastructure ahead of potential demand, institutions protect stability and customer trust.